So next we have rural urban fringe. The concept was given by R.J. Pryor in 1968. So city influence does not end abruptly. That is, city does not end abruptly and rural area starts here. There is a gradation of landscape with respect to land use patterns and ways of life. This is called as the rural urban continuum. So what is the rural urban fringe? It is the area of transition between well recognized urban land use and area devoted to agriculture. So what are some of the characteristics of RUF? These are extensive land use like use for airport and farmhouse. Rural administration still under rural areas only, and rural influence still dominates, but there is integration with urban economy. Poor infrastructure because areas of urban neglect. Land price speculation will be there because of real estate developers. High social distance between rich and poor, and haphazard growth, but there will be some planning with respect to hospitals and colleges. RP Mishra gave 5 stages in development of RUF, which are: first one is the rural landscape with traditional society. Next, there is a changing cropping pattern with veggies, dairies, flowers dominating the agricultural crops. Then we have the change in occupation. People go pick up seasonal jobs in urban, mostly blue collar jobs like drivers. Then there will be change in land use pattern with extensive land use for airport, farmers, etc. Therefore, there will be fall in agricultural land. Therefore, there will be more unemployment, more conflict, and more crime. Then the land will change from rural to our suburbs. Example, dormitory town. So we have the urban areas here, inner fringe here, outer fringe here, urban shadow here, and commuting zone here. Some dormitory towns are here, and there is a commuting town here. So the four main problems of RUF are: these are the garbage and sewage dumps of the city. Black money will be parked in the real estate. Land ownership will be concentrated, and due to this, land price will go up. Jogi Jobdi, that is slums, really related to RUF because of the low land cost compared to the main city. Next, we have the urban agglomerations. There are four origins for the explanation explaining urban areas, which are ecological, economic, and cultural and administrative. Administrative, like fort and capital. Cultural, like these are the centers of the cultural exchanges. Ecological, the next logical step in the trading the agricultural surplus is a city, and we have the economic explanation. So the actual expansion of the area is called the RUF, that is urban expanding into rural. This actual area is called as the RUF, and the phenomenon is called as the urban sprawl, which will generally be unplanned. Then we have the challenges of the unplanned extensions. First one, there will be high pollution because industry will be high in these areas. High inequality will lead to high crime. Pressure on infrastructure like narrow roads and high traffic. Land cost will be high because of the speculation. Traffic will be high, crowding will be high. Agricultural land will fall down, therefore unemployment will increase, therefore more conflict and also slums will result, and this will result in low standards of living. Unsustainable infra development will be there here. So what is the solution? First of all, urban sprawl phenomenon is inevitable, therefore we have to make it planned and gradual and slow. Therefore these urban sprawls will turn into the planned extensions in terms of suburban towns and suburb villages. We integrate all of them together into well planned urban agglomeration. This is the solution to the unplanned expansions problems. Next, we have types of towns and cities. First one is a dormitory town. These were parts of suburbs. They may be planned or unplanned. They do not have own economy or industrial base. So these are basically residential commuter towns. People go to the urban areas, they work and they come back to their homes. So what is the reason for the popping up are because of the low rent in these areas and low cost of living compared to the main city. Next, we have the edge cities. We have seen this already in the urban limbs in the models of urban morphology. This was given by Joel Garu in his Edge Cities in New Frontiers. So this was a dormitory. This was a dormitory town once, but they do not have any own economy. They have a small industrial base to generate some employment. Because they have a small industrial base, not all of them are only residents, but also they may be workers here. Next, we have twin cities. These are the cities with a similar population or similar influence. So examples are Cuttack, Bhubaneswar, Indore, Ujjain, Bokaro, and Dhanbad. Next, we have satellite towns. These are not part of the suburbs or RUF. They have their own historical legacy. For example, Noida is not a satellite town because it does not have any historical legacy. They have their own industrial base, so they have their own employment generation, and they are far from the main city. Theoretically, they are independent of the main city. For example, around Delhi, we have Sonipat, Panipat, Karnal, and Ghaziabad. So satellite town, they can reduce the population pressure and infra stress on the main city. Therefore, if government further develop the satellite towns, they will add to the industrial base of the country. So comparing suburbs and satellite towns, these are part of roof. These are not the part of roof. They don't have the own industrial base. They have the industrial base. They do not have historical legacy. They do have it. They are close to the main city. They are far away from the main city. Next, we have urban agglomeration. We have to define it first. It is the large concentrations of the urban areas with increasing population density and increasing commercialization of activity. Therefore, they attract migrants and expand over large areas. leading to the problems of amenities if they are not well planned. So there can be of two types: metropolis and megapolis. If 1 million population and 5 million population. Next, Lewis Mumford, he gave negative interpretation of stages of development of a city. So he gave 6 stages, which are: first one is the polis, which is the origin of settlement. Next we have Geopolis, which is a small town or a village, and then you have metropolis, which is a modern city. This stage has the best quality of life. Next we have megapolis with crowding, materialism, and corruption. Next, Terranopolis with crowding turning into congestion, materialism turning into consumerism, and corruption turning into crime. So this will be very bad situation. Next, last we have necropolis, which is a dead city. So this is a negative interpretation. It can be used to point out the problems of urbanization in UPSC answers. Next we have Gene Goldman, which he gave the positive interpretation of development of stages of city. So as city expands and population increases, they will expand in area and better transport will be provided. Because of these two things, there will be better employment and better amenities, finally resulting better quality of life. This can be used as way forward in UPSC answers for urbanization problems. So next we have the conurbation, which is continuous urbanization. So for example, there's a urban main city here, satellite town, satellite 2, and there are dormitory towns and 8 cities here. They are all urban areas. There are no rural areas in between. This is the most important point in the conurbation. There are no rural areas in between. So this is a ribbon expansion along a major transport or the linear economic expansion. So Patrick Geddes in 1915, he defined it as extensive urban areas resulting from coalescence of several original separate nuclei, urban nuclei. That is, there are several main city, main city, main city, main city. Their influence grow up, and this way the conurbation is formed. Next, CB Fawcett, he defined this as area occupied by continuously resourced dwellings, factories, harbors, etc., not separated by the rural land. So this is the definition. Basically, there should not be any rural land in between. They can be developed through three types. First one is uninuclear. The growth is expanding from one side, binuclear from two sides, and polynuclear from many sides. So these are three types. So we can give three examples. There are none in India, but two are prospective in northwestern Kolkata, which can be seen here. This is a northwestern prospective conurbation in India. Delhi, we have Amritsar, Jalandhar, Ludhiana, Ambala, Kurukshetra, Karnal, Panipat, Sonipat. We have Delhi now. Then Gurgaon. Here we have Chandigarh. Here we have Saharanpur, Dehradun, Haridwar, Muzaffarnagar, Meerut. This side we have Noida, Faridabad, and finally Mathura and Agra. In Kolkata, along the Hooghly River, we have Chandan Nagar, Nahiti, Angur, Shamnagar, Mahesh, Tiragar, Belur, Sodepur, Agarpura, Saika, Haura, Manikpur, and Bujabujje. So these are the prospective conurbations. With proper development in future, they may turn into the conurbations of India. Now coming to the world conurbations, we have the Golden Horseshoe conurbation in Canada. China says model, there is a conurbation on Pacific coast, and most important one is the Boas conurbation of USA. We have the Portland, Boston, New Haven, New York, Washington DC, Richmond, and Columbus. Next, Randstad and Holland conurbation in Netherlands. It has Amsterdam, Utrecht, Dordrecht, Rotterdam, The Hague, Leiden, and Haarlem. So there were two challenges basically: disappearance of green belts and increasing commutation. This was solved by using the increasing living space via high-rise buildings and construction of the freight corridors. So this is all the problem here. Last thing is the metropolitan areas, which are large urban areas deemed as urban agglomerations, but these are not continuous in the urban build-up area. So this is the main difference with the conurbation. There may be rural areas in between. So in India, we have the four primary metropolitan cities, which are Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, and Kolkata. This is a Delhi metropolitan area. This is a Mumbai metropolitan area. This is a Chennai metropolitan area. This is a Kolkata metropolitan area. Within Delhi, we have the Jaipur area here and Lucknow area here. Here in the Mumbai one, we have Ahmedabad area here, Nagpur area here, Pune area here. In the here, we have Hyderabad area here and Bangalore area here. So these are the metropolitan areas of the India.